bottom of the clip, but the gunshine stay high. What them boys still boating in that way. Big plate, get it for the 18 if you straight. Get K and stop hating, it's the motto of the state. A lot of face, but it's still real around here. That foreign talk, that can get you killed down here. Niggas better learn the lingo, cause they'll be looking for you in that water finding Nemo. See, Palm Beach County be the craziest. Them Broward County niggas be the craziest. And them Dade County niggas be the wildest. Shout out to Belle Glaze and my niggas at Fort Myers. Salute to all my Florida boys out here on the grind. When niggas out here getting dough with that snow and the sunshine. Ducking nine, waiting at the port to bring in that order. Cause niggas like depend on what come across that water. Welcome to South. I was born in the South, raised in the South. A Dade County nigga that was.
I should probably mute myself. What's good? What's good? What's good?
Yo, what's going on?
Shout out to everybody watching, man. This is our weekly prediction show. Shout out to Rich. We got Rich in the building. This way, Rich in the building. We got X. What's good, fellas? How we living?
What's happening? What's good? What's good?
Chilling.
All right, so
good, man. We were a day and a half from Game 5, man. Game 5. It's crazy, man. We was just stressing out about football season getting here, man. We about to be in Game 5 already.
I know
it's halfway over.
It's actually kind of.
Is it a little more funner because we're 4-0, or because the last 2 years it's kind of been stressful?
Go ahead, Rick.
Go ahead, Meti.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, man, it's good to see that we're doing better. It's good to see that we look good on the field. But what's really gonna make us happy is the next 4 to 6 games we got coming up. You know, of course, Georgia Tech, but UNC, Clemson, and really getting at it and seeing what we really got under the hood. You know, that's what's really gonna get us, you know, fulfilled for the season for real. That, and of course landing some big commits.
I agree, and you know we'll talk about that a little bit, but real quick, man. X reached out. He was like, man, let's try to get a fan, man, from the group me, man. So we decided to start looking around. You know what I'm saying? I kind of pay attention to what people are talking about in there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't always make, and we disagree, right? We family in there. It's a community, so we agree, we disagree. But this one person we about to bring up, man, I think he's been pretty consistent. But I mean, obviously that's a chat room, right? So people can go in there and type all kind. I even go in there and type some crazy stuff sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But I had the opportunity to see this guy on Coach Hayes' show, ironically, and he got brought in. I think Hayes called it the VIP room, champagne, something like that. But brought him on, man. I heard him talk, and he just seemed to really be, you know, someone who was knowledgeable about the game and a pretty knowledgeable Canes fan, man. So without further ado, man, we want to go ahead and bring up my guy KC3, man. Yeah, welcome KC3 to the show.
What's good, fellas? Good to be here, man. I appreciate the opportunity to join y'all tonight.
What's up, KC?
Man?
What's happening?
Hey, it's game week. We back.
Absolutely. Right out the gate with it, man. I don't know if y'all understand this or not, but do you understand the current win-loss record with Miami and Georgia Tech? We have played them 27 times. Miami is only ahead in the series by a single game.
Oh wow!
It's 14 wins to 13 with 0 ties.
Wow. Okay, so let's dig deep into that. You said we played them 27 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many times have been in the ACC alone? Because you know Georgia Tech was good back in the 80s and 70s and stuff like that.
Let's see. So
we played them around that day. Yeah, we wasn't nothing into the 80s.
The first time we ever played them was in 1955. Georgia Tech won 14-6 in Atlanta. Second time was in 1964. Georgia Tech won 20-0. Third time was in 67. Miami won 49-7. That is actually the largest margin of victory.
49-7.
Yeah.
I got my score prediction already.
68, we won 10-7. 70, 31, 21, they won. And then they went on a little streak. They won 4 straight between 1970 and 1978. Then we didn't play from 1978 until 2000.
Oh,
You know what I'm
dang.
saying? So yeah, a lot of those wins was early on.
Yeah.
But still, once we got to ACC play, it shouldn't even been. Yeah, God damn it.
It was some
I mean,
years
they-
where they was close. I remember remember Mike James and him having a score to win, like I think 08, 2010, something like that. So they were close about 10, 12 years
I
ago.
remember the one year when they had what was the little small quarterback they had?
Yeah, the light skinned dude. He's wear all them
Yeah.
bracelets.
Yeah.
They ended up beating us. I think we was ranked number 3 and they beat us. And I was like, that's when I was like, oh yeah, we going down. We lost to Georgia Tech. There's no way.
And I think that next year he came back and we beat them again. I distinctly remember him sitting on the sideline.
Reggie Ball, that's his name. Reggie Ball.
Reggie Ball.
Yep.
Yep.
And I remember he lost the game and he looked just like this guy.
He looked just like that.
And so, you would think though, X, actually from when we got into ACC play in 04, we won 27-3 under Larry Coker. The next 4 matchups against Georgia Tech, we lost. So from 05 to 08, we lost every matchup. Larry Coker, Randy Shannon. And Paul Johnson was the guy. Well, Chan Gailey was for 2 of those and 3 of those, and then Paul Johnson came in 08. Then we won 5 straight, lost 1 in 14 with Al Golden as the coach. That's probably the game we're talking about.
Well, wait a minute. Before we go forward on that, 05 to 08, you got to remember who was there. That was the Megatron.
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
But man, they weren't doing them just throwing the ball up for him. Like, we still should have won.
Ball.
We lost that game 41-23. So he obviously made a factor because we lost by 3 touchdowns.
I saw him play as a freshman, and nobody knew who he was in the country. I was at it. This was at Clemson, Georgia Tech versus Clemson. And we thought coming into that game, we were like, oh, man, it's Georgia Tech. We got that. And it was a coming out party for Megatron. I saw him catch balls in the end zone with one hand. He was just, as a freshman.
They had what was Joey Hamilton was their quarterback, right? Was Hamilton?
I forgot who their quarterback
was. I think it was Hamilton.
With Paul Johnson, it's hard to remember who any of their quarterbacks is because they just run the damn.
Paul Johnson was in there though. Paul Johnson was in there. I think.
In 08?
It was still Cheney when.
Paul Johnson was there in 08.
Megatron went to the
Megatron
league
like
in
05.
2007, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Gailey was still. Yeah, Cheney was his coach in college. It wasn't no Paul Johnson.
Okay. So yeah, it must have been 07 that he played then.
Yeah.
But they only won that game by 3 points. Yeah, so yeah, hence why we probably should have won that game. And then from there, 09, Randy beat him 33-17, 35-10. Al Golden beat him 24-7, and 42-36, and 45-30. And we lost against Al Golden against Paul Johnson. Then Mark Richt came, beat him 35-21, 25-24. Excuse me, 35-21 again. 25-24. Lost 2 straight with Mark Richt as the head coach.
One of those was in overtime.
Yeah.
We lost 2 straight with Mark Richt? You sure?
No, we lost 1 with Mark Richt and then the next one, Manny Diaz.
2019.
One of them was that bonehead mistake your boy DJ Ivy let the guy just run by him on the fake punt pass.
Mm-hmm.
Ivy in the league now. Let's.
Yeah. I mean, still the I was on the field, man. I wanted to run and just grab Ivy like, what the fuck you doing?
Where's Jay White?
Hey, that was young Ivy too.
Yeah. We didn't play in 2020 because of COVID. That's the game that got canceled. That would have actually gave us the outright Coastal Championship.
Okay.
And then 2021, we won 33-30. Actually went to that game.
That was a game TVD went crazy. He almost had he had to have close to 40-yard pass in that game.
Mm-hmm. And then last year, 35-14. So I will say this.
So we kind of beat them in the ACC play there.
Yeah, the last 4 has been 2-2. 1 year we didn't play them, but I would say, like I said, it's only a 1-game margin, and it's especially crucial because shout out to Manny Navarro because I did steals from him because I'm not paying for the stats. But Miami has not won a bye game in 7 years. A game after a bye game in 7 years.
Wow.
So we're 0-7 after bye week.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
2016.
Oh, well,
I think this year is much different.
It better be.
Well, it gotta be.
You're right.
It has to be. It has to be. It ain't no better. Thinking it has to be better. I mean, you can't just one. The recruits coming to the game, you just can't let them down. You can't have a let down this game. If you do, you might well just say you just same old you on for the past whatever years.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And that team not good. So if you have a let down and that team not good, we not ready for nothing. We ain't gonna never be ready for nothing.
But I think it's more so one of the things that is one of the biggest hurdles for us right now is not the trenches anymore. It's not can we execute on offense and defense. It's players being healthy. So I think with having that bye week, you allow guys to heal up and guys to get full speed again. Like Cam is coming back, and that's really going to be going to be the catalyst to why we're going to blow them out this Saturday.
I think another thing is just dealing with expectations, right? Like we going into this game as a 21-point favorite. Meti, you said the largest margin of victory is 49-7. So there haven't been a ton of just straight up blowouts when we played Georgia Tech. Part of it, they were running triple option, running the clock out.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, like they play us tough. And how do we go into a game as a 3-touchdown favorite in a night game at the Rock? Everybody's expecting us to blow them out.
Yeah.
Can we go out and do it?
Well, the one thing I'm gonna say
another
about
hurdle.
that is, I think the atmosphere of the stadium
Definitely
is going to
plays a
give
part.
us a boost. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the A&M game, although it wasn't 65,000 there, I think it was about 50 at the most. But the stadium was loud. It gave those players, man, that extra energy they needed to do what they needed to do and get the job done. You know, and that's why I'm telling people now, like even if you do 45 to 50,000, that's a loud stadium at the Dolphin Stadium. It's a loud stadium.
One thing I noticed too with the stadium that we have is we have a pro stadium. So what that allows us to do, if you go to a traditional college stadium, like if you went to the A&M game, I know Clemson Stadium is like this. It's very bowl shaped where it's made so that it makes the it's almost like you can peer over and see the game. Whereas in a pro stadium, it's all about you being close to the players. So like if you, in Hard Rock in particular, if you've ever sat like in the middle tier or the lower bowl area, you feel like you're extremely close to the field. So that helps when it comes to having less attendance, but being able to still be loud in the stadium because it's like you right there, right on top of the players.
And you want to know something so funny? And I made this comment to a Leon County fan. I don't want to call him by their school. Leon County, right? So I was like, man, y'all always talk about stadium this, stadium that. Y'all stadium has bleachers. You know, like who wants to sit on bleachers sitting next to somebody on somebody's lap? Like, I don't want to sit on nobody's lap. I want to sit in my own chair. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how do you buy a ticket? Like, where do you sit at?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do y'all even Y'all
got a
can't even
number
really
on the
count
bleacher.
the name of the people at the stadium. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about 80-something thousand. How you know that?
I know some of these seats they have like a little, it's like a little pop-in portion, right? It's like a little,
Yeah, like a little
like
chair.
the bigger boosters. Yeah, it's like it plugs
Yeah,
on.
like the boosters and the people who paying the most money for those tickets, they get probably individual seats, but that may be like 15,000.
Yeah, I mean, at A&M last year, they had bleachers. I mean, they had the bleachers, and then you got a little number, and you just hoping that you in your right number. You just packed in there like sardines.
That's rough.
I mean, and it is what it is, but that's why I laugh when they talk about stadiums. Though, so I'm like, well, our stadium is probably, not probably, our stadium is way more comfortable than y'all stadium. Like
more state of the art.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
we don't have to sit on each other's
system,
lap.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got bars at the stadium where, guess what? When is bad, guess what? If nobody's going to sit in their seat, we going out to get drunk. You know what I'm saying? We trying to drink away our misery. So y'all either going stay in y'all bleachers or y'all finna leave stadium. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
And you mentioned it earlier, right? Like, I don't know if Georgia Tech is ready for what they might be walking into, because everything, X, you mentioned it, right? Tickets are going. Like, this game might mess around and be sold out or close to it. And if it's a 2017 Notre Dame Virginia Tech environment in there, it's gonna be rocking.
Yeah, I mean, if it's it won't be Notre Dame. It won't be, because that's just
not
Notre Dame. Something special. If it's Virginia Tech,
probably Virginia Tech.
If it's Virginia Tech, that's still big. That's huge, because Virginia Tech was huge when he got them turnovers, man. It's like the stadium you can feel the stadium rocking itself.
Yeah, when RJ
that probably was like maybe 55 to 60, maybe 60,000 that game.
Yeah, when RJ McIntosh picked that fumble up and Jaquan had the one-handed pick, man, them people went crazy in there.
Yeah,
and we were in black jerseys, I'm pretty sure too.
We were black. Yeah, I'm about to say we were black jerseys that game. So that could be the expectations of, like you just say, man. They just put out an article saying, man, most of the seats on the lower levels are sold out. They still got some seats for the up top, but them be the ones, the late bloomers who come in and just looking for some tickets. So.
But yeah, let's talk about both teams this season, how they've looked. Real quick, I'll go to each of y'all and then we'll break down the actual stats. KC, how do you feel like and this is obviously you're not in here, so we've heard us at nauseum talk about it, but how do you feel Miami has looked this season so far, in your opinion?
I mean, this is the best Miami has looked in over a decade. I can't even, it might even be longer than that. It's probably 15 plus years. To this point in the season, they've delivered in terms of dominating in almost every game, right? A&M, it got off to a slow start, but they showed some resiliency to fight back. And then all of a sudden, once they fought back, it was throat on neck, man. So everything to this point, in terms of every game that we've seen, they've gone out and they've executed and they've done what they needed to do in terms of just dominating inferior talent. And we have not seen that in the last, since the early 2000s, which is crazy. It's been 20 years. So I don't know how we can be a little bit critical. We can nitpick on certain things, but this team, I've watched every team in the ACC, and I've watched almost every game. I've watched so many games, man, across all college football. There's only a handful of teams that have dominated the way that Miami has, regardless of opponent.
Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. Just looking at throughout college football, you haven't seen a team dominate from start to finish every game. I think Oregon might be one that did it. Miami's one that did it. Ironically, guess what? Mario built that Oregon team the way they is right now. You know what I'm saying? So we could kind of feel good about that, because Mario is doing the same thing at Miami. But yeah, I said at the beginning of the season, I say, man, you'll tell how good Miami is by how you dominate the game that you're supposed to win. You know what I'm saying? Miami, Ohio, we won, what, 38-3? We supposed to win that game. Did it look like for one moment anybody thought that Miami, Ohio can compete with us? For one moment, I mean, just a split second. I don't think so. Then you go to Texas A&M. They have probably more superior talent than us across the board. Maybe a split second, maybe a 7 minutes and a half, 7 minutes throughout the entire game, I felt, okay, yeah, maybe that's a better team. And after that, I was like, oh, we better than them. I know it. They not ready. You know what I'm saying? Because I just didn't see it in their eyes, their scheme, nothing. Then, the next two games with Bethune and Temple, I'm like, yeah, neither one of those should be on the field with us. So, yeah, I think, not to brag, because, yeah, we haven't played anybody besides the A&M game, but it's just the way that we dominated. We didn't even give them an opportunity to think about, oh, we could compete with these guys.
What you got, Rich?
Yeah, for me, the thing that stands out with Miami is through the 4 games we've had, we've scored 38 points against Miami of Ohio, 48 against Texas A&M, 48 against Bethune-Cookman, and 41 against Temple. And right off the bat, what that tells me is our offense is on schedule. So there's a specific way that there's a specific methodology to our offense and what we're trying to accomplish. And primarily, we're trying to be balanced. We're trying to mix the pass and the run. That way, um, we're not playing a defense that is only going to key in on one thing, but we're playing a defense at all times that's really going to give us. We're taking advantages of those holes inside the defense. So it's very professional, like you think about it, very very NFL like. Um, and the thing that stands out is we scored 48 against Texas A&M and 48 against Bethune-Cookman. So what that means is even against tough competition, even though the defense did bend, we didn't break on offense and we did what we had to do. And they, you know, that tough defense that they have still didn't have any answers for our offense, which is really interesting. Um, if you want me to go into Georgia Tech, or we saving that?
We'll get there. We'll get there. I'll give everybody opportunity to talk. Yeah, I definitely agree in regards to, and I'm not going to beat the same dead horse y'all said. I think the biggest thing I've seen is the consistency on the offensive side, and outside of Texas A&M, who obviously have probably more 4 and 5 star talent collectively than Miami does, to allow only 33 points and then basically not allow over 10 points to 4 of the other opponents. One of who has beat, a pretty good Cincinnati team in the Miami, Ohio, I think speaks volumes about how on par. And I've said this in the chat. I've said this on stream. I think it's just nice for the first time in a while to see us having both things, right? Having that peanut butter and that jelly. Because always it seems like that we're missing one. Like our defense is stout, but our offense is lacking something. Our offense is all over the place, but the defense is giving up, 500 yards rushing or something crazy like that, right? And so to be able to see both of those things be good at the same time, it's a lot of Canes fans who haven't seen that since probably the early 2000s. And so a lot of them don't. That's why I think a lot of them are like kind of riding high right now. But as I say, I'm always going to be skeptical because we got to see it against better competition. Don't get me wrong. And I'll go around and ask this. Texas A&M was a huge victory, but would y'all, and I'll let each of y'all answer. We'll start with KC3. Would y'all say that is so far the key? Is that the key win of the season for Miami, in your opinion?
I think it's key in terms of they're the best team and the most talented team. And going into that game, there was a lot of anticipation from Miami fans coming off of last year, in which we didn't see one game where we felt like our coaches schemed up a victory, right? Like in the A&M game, like it felt like we had the better coaching staff. Our players were more prepared than that team was. And that kind of set the tone for the season and the rest of the games. Like, hey, that's not the days of us coming out. I remember Manny would always say this, the days of us coming out and having a post conference. Oh, they showed us a look that we weren't prepared for. They showed us something that we didn't expect or didn't know about. He used to say that all the time and it would drive me crazy. Those days are over, right? Like we got our checks no matter what looks are thrown our way. I thought the most complete game, honestly, I thought it was the last game against Temple when, especially offensively, we just felt like although we scored 41 points, we could have scored 60, 70, right? Like we did whatever we wanted to them. And it just felt like that was a game on the road in a cold environment where in the past we might play around with these fools. But no, we didn't. We came in, we dominated, we could have put up 70. We took the foot off the gas, got the young guys in, they scored one touchdown, and we got out of town, right? So A&M was the best game I thought in terms of like setting the expectations as to this is a new team, this is a new year. I thought last game was one of the most complete games I've seen Miami play in a long time.
We'll go to Rich and then we'll let X finish that part off.
For me, I think the most significant game hasn't been played as of yet, but it isn't what people think. It's not those boys in Leon County. It's actually University of North Carolina. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the power rankings in the ACC right now, you have Florida State, you have Miami at number 2, and then you have UNC at number 3. And UNC so far, the way they've played, I feel like it's going to take a Miami to knock them off in order for them to not make it to the ACC championship game. Florida State still has to play Duke, so there's that game could go either way. But I think if we get UNC out the way, the rest of the schedule looks promising when it comes to playing for that ACC championship because Clemson already has 2 losses. Louisville, I truly believe that somebody's going to knock off Louisville. So they're not only going to lose to us, they're going to lose to someone else. And Florida State, at that point, those games could go either way. Whether if we meet twice.
What you got, X?
Let me just pick before I jump into what I was going to say. Let me pick it back. I just looked at Carolina's schedule. It ain't pretty. They got Clemson. They got Syracuse this week. Syracuse ain't no walkover. They not a walkover. They got Clemson. They got Duke and North Carolina State. You know what I'm saying? So their schedule ain't a definite that they're going to get to the title. You know what I'm saying? They got to go through us and those other schools. So, but the A&M game I'd say was probably the most important game of the season because it was a game where UM got down. We was down 10-0. And in the past, that's you know what I'm saying, that's a recipe for disaster for the rest of the game. You know what I'm saying? The team fought back to adversity. We ended up going to halftime. I think it was 21-17 or 21-20.
I believe so.
And from there on, it just, we was just way better than them physically and mentally, and the coaching staff was just better at that point. In the past, again, it's a game we lose and lose big because the players tend to get down. But if looking at the players on the sideline, they was into it. You know what I'm saying? They was pumping each other up, telling them, man, we got this. They not like that. A lot of those guys took it personal from what was said from some players on their team. You know what I'm saying? Some players on their team that's local. So I said it was probably one of the biggest games.
Yeah.
Because in the past, that's just a game we lose. And then what happened in the past? Once we lose that big game, we end up losing the next 2. It's like, oh yeah, you don't want to lose a 3-game losing streak.
Yep.
So
I would definitely agree. I think you forgot to mention we actually went down twice. We went down 10-0 and then 17-7. So we went down twice by double digits and somehow still pulled out that victory. So that is a level of resiliency that I have yet to see a team since the early 2000s play with. Normally, like, yeah, we got accustomed to, I would say pretty much since what, that 2004 was the MPC Computers Bowl or something like that when we played LSU.
Yeah.
And that's when I would probably say the SEC dominance, I use that term loosely, kind of began because yeah, it was like you kind of saw like a wounded animal like dying off, kind of like, and it was and it was hard to really, we never have recovered from it, from being honest. That was going on what, 19 years ago, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
to see it, if this is legitimate, to see it resurging like this is definitely a good look. Let's talk about Georgia Tech real
Well,
quick.
hold on, Meti. Okay, so I think it was 2017 when we was down. We was down by double digits in that game against
We were down
I think it
against
was
Florida State too.
Virginia. Florida State, but it was the Virginia one. I think it was Virginia.
Yeah, they
We
had
was
that dude.
down.
They had that dude that went to Atlanta that was supposed to be a quarterback.
Quarterback, yeah, we was down. We was down by
Kirk
double digits
been
to them.
hurt or something like that.
Yep, Kirk Benkert. Yep.
Okay, yeah, we was down. We was down to them. And I think it was like 28-14 or something like that. Jaquan Johnson gets the interception and he returns it for a touchdown. And at that moment, I'm on the sideline and I'm like, hey, we're gonna win this game because it looked like it sucked all their energy out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the turnover chain error. So when he got the interception and he ran it back, we stopped them immediately, get the ball, drive down the score, and it's, game over. You don't win. Same thing with that Florida State game.
That was the Frank Clark game, right?
Yeah. We was down with 28-7 or something
Yeah, that's
like
the
that
game
at one point.
when Red Wine hit
And then
Frank
Red
Clark.
Wine came and hit the blitz. Boom. The stadium, the momentum to turn to Miami way. They get the ball back. Pittman catch the interception.
Yep.
Pittman catch the interception. Did they throw the touchdown to, I think, Jeff Thomas? And next you know, we stopped them. They couldn't do nothing. And then Coley Perry throws the touchdown to
Daryl Langham, right?
Not Langham. No. Jordan. Reverend Jordan, the tight end. When he
Yep,
beat
right.
the long touchdown pass.
Yep.
Caught it, scored. And that was it. You know what I'm saying? That momentum. Those were game-changing momentum plays that even in that Texas A&M game, you say, oh, yeah, that's it right there.
And like I said, that's what it's supposed to feel like, but then you always kind of felt like you always had your doubts about Rozier. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. I thought he was a serviceable quarterback, at least because he could run and he could seem to find the seams and but throwing the ball, it wasn't there. So if you got him in a position where it was third and some change and you could stop him from where you can contain him, he became useless. But I felt like he was a good quarterback. And it wasn't until people really broke down stats to me. It was like, man, this man was like a 50% passer that year. And I was like, man, say what you want about the stats, but he the only quarterback in the last 2 decades to win 10 games. So what are we talking about? Like, think about that. All these quarterbacks we had that were supposedly so much better as passers, and he's the only one to win double-digit games since then. You know what I'm saying? And Mark Richt didn't even want to play him, if I'm being honest with you. So
yeah, told him, man, you will never play quarterback for this team. And he came and won 10 games for him.
You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not like when I see him talking shit, I'm like, Raleek, talk your shit, dog, because you earned it, like 1,000%. But we good on that. We move on Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Oh man, Georgia Tech. They look real bad.
I want to ask, like, was I guess a key victory for them? I guess it's Wake Forest, but we don't know if Wake Forest is even good like that.
I got something. Lost one game. Wake Forest. But go ahead.
I got something for y'all because I feel like people are kind of disrespecting Georgia Tech. because of what happened at Bowling Green, right? So, first week they play Louisville. The score at halftime was 28-13 Georgia Tech, right? They play Ole Miss the next week. Beginning of the fourth quarter, it's 24-17 Ole Miss. They're down by a touchdown. People see the end of the score, they got blown out, right? But they're only down by a touchdown at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Wake Forest, they were up 20-3 at halftime. And then Bowling Green, before the collapse, they were up 14-0 in that game. So it's like Georgia Tech has an explosive team. Like they can go and score points. That defense is a whole nother story, right? But the way I look at this game is like I look at Georgia Tech, I look at them like this is the old Yeller game, right? Y'all remember old Yeller, the dog? Y'all remember y'all Yeller? This is the old Yeller game in the sense that Georgia Tech is a wounded dog. They got rabies, and we got a choice. We either gonna nurse them back to life by letting them stay in this game, or we gonna take their asses out to the pasture and we're gonna put them down. Put them down early,
Stomp
don't
on
give
them.
them a chance,
That's a fair
right? Because
analogy.
because they do have talent. Like this is not the same team as last year. That's not the same triple option team. Like they got some dudes. You look at all these transfers they got from A&M, they got from Alabama. They got some guys. So we got to come to play because that last game, I'm like, just ignore that. Ignore that game as an anomaly. Don't worry about what happened at Bowling Green. They were in there with Ole Miss. They were beating Louisville by 2 touchdowns. This is not they gonna give us their best effort because that's what Georgia Tech does when they play Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Tyler got to, yeah, like you said, he got to end that in the first half. It can't even be no hope for them, not a glimmer of hope, because it just sounds like to me from what you're saying, KC3 is a team that don't know how to win. Like they understand how to lead, how to, you know, be in charge of 3/4 of a game, but when it comes down to the clutch moments that you got to put the game out of reach, they don't seem to know how to do that. And that's something I have seen Miami do. And once again, talking in that Texas A&M game, and granted that's a small sample size because the other 3 opponents weren't really uh, a match, if we're being honest, respectfully, you know what I'm saying? But watching that team figure out on 3 different phases how to get the lead, maintain the lead, and then hearing like the stories of Shannon Dawson, like, I'm going for the jugular. Fuck what they talking about. Like, nah, like we're not getting fall off the gas because we don't. Our defense is gonna struggle to get to stop them. Like, I think that's huge. And that shows coaches who knows what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Not taking that away from Brent Key or the DC that he swapped out, none of that stuff. I'm just saying you can't be letting leads, like massive leads like this, slip and then think that you're gonna show up to Miami and think you're just gonna figure it out. I don't think so. But what's your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Oh, you want to go, Rich, or you want me to go?
Well, I mean, we're definitely not underestimating Georgia Tech, and I 100% agree with KC3. It should be bombs away. We should establish the pass very early in the game, get about 3 to 4 tubs. After we do that, then we move along to the ground game. The ground game has been the kryptonite for Georgia Tech. It's so interesting because they got a quarterback who could run, but their defense can't stop the run. So after that, after we take a couple shots in the air, just get on the ground and see if we can go for 400 yards on the ground. Um, so it's not about overlooking Georgia Tech. It's about establishing who we are, and I think that's going to be really important in this game.
Um, I'm not with none of you guys. I think I'm overlooking Georgia Tech, man. They just don't look good. They don't look good.
And normally I would
Oh
do the
man,
same, but it seems like, especially in ACC play, when we do that against, I believe it. I still stand on that. We're every team Super Bowl. So when
Yeah, but
things that
we
they've
not the
never done,
same. I don't
things
think
they've
we the
never done.
same. I don't think we the same either. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree. But I think it's worse now because people know that Miami trend up. Now they're like, we want to be the team that stops it. So it makes it worse. Like when that 2017 was running shit, every team was like, oh, we want to stop that shit. They just had the mental resolve to be like, nah, not today. Until we got to
Well,
damn Pittsburgh, with a true freshman Kenny Pickett, and then it's like a garbage day after the day after Thanksgiving, I think it was in late November.
The day after Thanksgiving on Friday, I was sitting in Tootsie's.
Black Friday.
I was so pissed because I was like, I'm in Tootsie's, nobody here, and we getting whooped. I can't even yell at no stripper. I can't yell at. I'm pissed, man. But yeah, I don't think we're the same. I think Mario has a team focus because even the quote TVD said, man, he like, man, look, I forget what was the quote. He said something, he don't care that we're 4-0, you know what I'm saying? You could lose every game from here on out. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to every game and just you 0-0. Yeah, just watching Georgia Tech. I don't look, man, they offensively, they could go here and there. I don't think they played a good defensive team yet. Defensively, they horrible. They horrible. So I think our offense is going to do whatever they want to do. I don't think Gildry really. Gildry's not scared of that. They offer that they got. They still kind of small up front on the offensive line too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, that's just the fan of me. I'm overlooking them, man. But again, I don't think that Georgia Tech team is good. They shouldn't be on the field with us for maybe half a quarter the first quarter.
All right, so
I don't think they're good either. Oh, my bad, Meti. I was just gonna say I don't think they're good either. I do think though, like this is a very important game because we're about to start playing some halfway decent quarterbacks, right? And Haynes King, he's averaging 300 yards passing a game. All right, like he averaging 300 yards passing a game. He's got 14 touchdown passes so far. Their offense has not been the problem for the most part. They've had some turnover issues, but they've been able to score points. So when I look at Guidry, I'm like, all right, man, like Haynes King is not Drake May. Haynes King is not Jordan Travis in terms of they're not Florida State offense. Like Georgia Tech offense is something where I'm like, if you show me something, like, can we lock this shit up? Can we go out here and lock this up the way that we need to? Because offensively, I have no concerns. I feel like it's about to be free bands on offense. But is Georgia Tech going to mess around and score 21, 24, 28 points on us? Or are we going to clamp them up?
That's a fair point. So with that being said, let's talk about some elements that can influence the game. X, real quick, you probably know better than the rest of us. Any injuries we should be concerned about? Any guys we expecting back? Or we know Mario keeps it pretty tight ship, but if you got any insight you could provide.
Okay, so we were told, well, I was told, I guess everybody else who would be that should know either, that Dean did practice this week. Which is surprising. I thought maybe he would be the one that's out for the rest of the season, but he did practice this week. Megador did practice also. I just don't know the availability for the game. Who else? Matt Lee is good to go. The only guy I didn't get an answer from was Henry Parrish. And I'm not sure. I'm going to try to see if I can find out some tomorrow about him, but I didn't get an answer for Henry Parrish. Arroyo did practice this week.
Really?
Mario said he might be ready to go this week. We'll see with that.
That's big time.
I agree.
I mean, and then obviously Cam Kitchens is season full go also. Yeah.
That's that. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, and it might be Arroyo might have to be practicing because Riley Williams has been, lesser opponents, but I went back and watched, like right before we got on him, I went back and watched Temple, and this man is blocking his ass off.
Yes, he is.
And he's moving people, like on top of that, but just to see just a possibility to me that you could probably, goal line package, you can swap out 2 slot receivers and throw in a package with Riley Williams as well as Elijah Arroyo, and then put a Kobe and maybe somebody else on the other side. Man, sign me the hell up.
Just think about, you could really go 12 personnel and then put Arroyo out in the receiver. That's how good of a route runner he is. You know what I'm
So,
saying? That's just, oh man. And to go back to what you said about Riley Williams, he's a violent blocker. He's violent when he's blocking.
he is.
I'm talking about like he when he finishes block, it almost looked like an old lineman. You know, when the old lineman finishes the block and he's getting ready to pancake you, and then he kind of like just throw his weight off on you.
Yeah, rolled you up. I saw that.
Oh man, somebody taught him that, and he's doing it good. I'm like, oh my god.
And I think that's why he's
got that dog in him.
Yeah, I think that's why he's seen the field over Jackson Carver and definitely over Skinner, man. Because I think he at the point of attack, he is not afraid to put his hands on your ass, like and pause. But weather, just in case y'all wondering, because if I'm not mistaken, you've been at the home games. Is this the first game we're gonna play that it's not raining?
This year, yeah.
It's supposed to be 82 and partly cloudy.
Yeah, this year,
it'll be night.
Yeah, if it don't rain, it'll be the first home game that rain. It rained Miami, Ohio. It rained Texas A&M. It rained.
It rained in Philly. It was a damn tropical storm, which we supposed to be dealing with that. So this will be the first game of the season with no rain.
Yeah, no rain. So that's that's crazy. I mean, but it's Miami. I guess they say we the hurricane, so you can expect anything to happen.
And then, Rich, let me hear what you got about. We heard this week they fired a defensive coordinator or demoted him in-house. Do you think this is a gimmick or an effective coaching strategy?
I feel like it's being halfway in and halfway out of what you really want to do. And what I mean by that is you really want to get rid of some folks that's on your staff, but you don't want to because you don't want to unravel the team. I think it's a bad move on their part because it shows the confidence. It shows how confident the head coach is when it comes to choosing his coordinators and choosing the identity that he wants for his team. So he doesn't know what identity they want. Doesn't really know how to pick his coordinators accordingly, and it just looks bad. It looks bad. So
all right, so to go with what you just said, Rich, it's bad because they demoted the defensive coordinator, and today they already just had their top defensive player in their 24 recruiting class decommitted.
I saw that.
So it's bad.
Wait, say that again. They top defensive player just decommitted.
They top defensive player in their 24 recruiting class just decommitted today earlier.
Interesting.
Ripple effect.
Who was recruiting them? The old DC?
The DC was his primary recruiter.
But let's just keep it a buck though. Like that shit never works. Like anytime you hear like, oh man, we gotta have a new play caller. It don't matter if it's 10 games into the season, 5 games into the season. Think about when Manny was like, oh, I'm taking play calling from Blake Baker. What changed? Nothing. It's free bands. Ain't nothing they can do to fix that defense. I'm watching them play Bowling Green. I'm like, Bowling Green running simple play action plays, bringing a tight end across into the flat or running back into the flat. Linebackers just not going with them. They taking flats 40, 50 yards. It's bad. I'm like, that defense is not good. That's the problem.
It was bad. But again, I mean, like you say, changing the play caller, man, in college football is hard because pretty much the defense is going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like the NFL where a defensive coordinator could come in and just change everything instantly. You know what I'm saying? No, college, the defense is going to be the same until the next year. You know what I'm saying? You ain't changing a defense in college football in mid-year. So
think about the morale. Think about the morale of that DC who's now got demoted to safety coach. Like, Buddy got to go coach the safeties. It's awkward for everybody. Like, it's just not a good look overall for the whole team.
He's probably already in there telling there. He probably knows, like, yeah, man, I ain't gonna be here next year, man. So,
he gone.
I talk about all the time with Twitter about how Josh Gaddis, when when he was doing his weekly post conference, I was like, there's a numerous times where you could tell him and Mario didn't get along because Josh Gatz would come out in regular ass clothes, no logo, no nothing. He would just come out in a regular ass t-shirt, and I was like, yeah, him and Mario just got into it. And so even from that, and they still kept the faith with him for the whole year, obviously until the end. Even with that, you just kind of knew like, because Gaddis was still calling plays, that he moved from the box and then he moves, and that's with the same guy. So if you trying to tell me that you're going to demote your current DC, and I think they said they're going to move him up to the box to get a better view of the field, and then move the new DC down to the field. Yeah, he definitely probably got one foot out the door. Like, man, get me the hell up out of here. And then you got to think Brent Key was hired as what? He was an interim guy at first, and then they made him full time.
Yep.
So he's trying to do his best to keep his job too. He basically trying to be, Dabo of Georgia Tech. Being honest, you know what I'm saying? So, but
yeah, the player that they just had, his name is CJ Jackson. He's a defensive end, linebacker tweener. He's about 6'3", about 235. Listen, I'm shocked he was even committed to Georgia Tech because he got some big heavy dogs that's after him. So by that DC getting demoted, I can guarantee you he decommitted because of that.
hate to see it. Anywho, we get here 50 minutes, so we'll got predictions. I'll just go straight, from Rich X, and then we'll get KC3 as the guest picker this week.
Cool.
So
real quick, for me, I got Miami 56, Georgia Tech 14. I think we put up 8 tubs against this team. I think in particular we played TVD till about 5 to 6 tubs, and then they think that we're gonna let our foot off the gas, and I see us scoring on a passing play with a backup quarterback and on a running play with one of our running backs, probably the third or fourth option guy. So 56-14.
All right, X, what you got?
Man, I'm gonna go back to that score prediction I heard. I mean, the score that we did earlier, 49-7?
Let me look it up.
Wasn't it 49-7?
49-7 in 1967.
49-7, you won, baby. 49-7, you go.
Let me lock that in. Hold on. 49-7 for X. All right, KC3, what you got, man?
I got 52-17.
52-17. Okay.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know, Georgia Tech, they can't stop the run. They're allowing 220 plus yards on the ground. I think changing the new DC, they're gonna try and do everything they can to stop the run. But little do they know, every wide receiver in the country is in the stands, and we about to go vertical on them boys.
Okay. I like that. I like that thought process. I definitely would agree. I don't know if we're gonna necessarily put the backups in, because, and the reason why I say this is because I think you want to showcase a game like this, first ACC game at home. I think you just want to keep Tyler out there for as long as possible. Have your defense dominate, and then because we don't know the status of Parrish, we want to make sure that we like the game plan we went with last game, where Tyler didn't have to throw for a ton of yards, but we just ran for 300 plus. I'd like to see that because, for one, I like to see us. Someone pointed out, I think in the media, to Jalen Rivers. What's Jalen Rivers? Someone said you guys are okay y'all great at pass blocking, but y'all basically suck at run blocking. And Jalen Rivers is kind of like, man, we don't care about none of that shit. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I forgot who asked that to me. It might have been David Lake, but it was like. So I want to see.
It probably wasn't David Lee. It probably was one of those corny guys, or was it the lady?
Nah, it wasn't. It definitely was Susan. Susan don't even act no shit like that. Susan acts stuff like, "Hey, what she'll say? Hey, Jaden, this is your first ACC game. Did you watch the ACC when you were in the Big 12? What do you think about it? Like, who cares? Like, what are you talking about, dog? Like, what are we actually saying right now? Like, hey, Francisco, did you watch that? And Francisco was like, no, I was playing the Pac-12. I wasn't watching nothing from the Eastern Seaboard of the United States. Like, and I'm like,
Okay,
why
well,
do they keep
you
giving
missed
her
the
media
Pac-12.
pass? Shit is insane to me, man. But
She grandfathered in, man. She got tenure.
I guess so, man.
Yeah,
Anyway,
man.
score for me, I'm gonna call it. I think I like them where they at with the scoring. I call it 42-13. I lock it in 42-13, Miami.
I want a 50 burger so bad, man.
I agree, but I don't think this team feels like they need to do it unless it's like, you know, like the A&M situation where it was like we gotta like score to keep the momentum with us. And a lot of coaches in the past, a lot of our coordinators in the past didn't have that. Like they'll go out there and run the ball a bunch of times, or they'll get conservative, and then the team will catch up, and now you got to play. But Shannon was like, hell no, pedal to the metal. Like we need to be up by 2 TDs so that I can. And then, you know, Jacoby catches that pass, breaks those 2 defenders, and off to the races. And I think that was huge. And so I think TVD gonna get a lot of playing time. I think not because he's trying to show something off to all those recruits. I think he's just in the best position to showcase the offense. Nothing against
Emory or Jakari.
Emory. Yeah. I just think you give those guys time. Like I said, like if you don't have to burn a red shirt, you don't burn it. Leave it alone and, you know, and just let him play out most of the game. And like I said, with the way the pace of these games are going now, you know what I'm saying? Now, I will be surprised if for some reason the third, fourth quarter, this game is close. Like, it'll tell me that a lot of things went wrong with our defense, probably. But I feel good about 42-13.
Yeah, I think, you know, the one thing about it, like I said, I think TVD is going to play the whole game also. Now, it depends on how fast we come out. Like, if we come out fast and it's like, just say, for instance, like 28-35, 3 halftime, you know, we're going to play, we're going to put the backups in. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how fast we come out. You know, now, if it's like 28-7 halftime, yeah, TVD's going to play the rest of the game. You know what I'm saying? You just got to look at it like that because, for one, he still hasn't thrown 100 passes yet this season. You know what I'm saying? He's at, 99? It's crazy.
He's at 99 or 100 on the dot.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, he got to get some playing time. He had to get some playing time. I know he's out there like, dang, coach, can I play a whole game with these points? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he's actually like, how many yards? Like 300 or 400 yards behind Haynes King. Behind Haynes King, but he's thrown like 70 less passes. And their touchdown to interception ratio is almost, I think Haynes King is like 14-4, and Tyler's 11-1. And the one was just more of an athletic play than him making a mistake, in my opinion. So, 15.
Yeah, now that we're in ACC play, like, is the whole playing a backup quarterback thing? I don't think because Emory only can play one more game. And it's a long season. You never know what can happen. And Tyler can go back there and hand the ball off. Like, if we up and we just need to run out the clock, we can do that. I hope this game, man, if Henry Parrish is out, one thing I do want to see, I would love to see CJ get a couple touches behind this offensive line, man. A couple carries, because that's the one thing this offense I have not seen yet. We don't have a running back that has a carry over 37 yards, man. Like, I want to see somebody take one to the crib, like a 60-yarder. It hasn't happened in I don't know how long.
In a while.
Mark Walton.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna ask you, what happened to Ajay Allen? Because I'm hearing conflicted things.
Okay.
I heard
Ajay Allen Temple week, he had a virus. He had a viral infection that caused him not to play.
But he's good now.
Yeah, he's good now. He's good now. He's practicing now.
Okay.
He's practicing now. When he got back practicing, they say he was weak. I guess that viral infection kind of really affected him a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of, he ended up losing some pounds. And I was like, he ain't that big thing to begin with, so he can't lose no more weight.
Yeah. Speaking of, I would love to see that type of 2-2 punch combo where you give him AJ and Chris Johnson, and you let them kind of go back and forth to see who could break one real quick, because you know your run defense sucks. And then once if you get a couple of them broken deep, then you can just wear their ass down with Mark Fletcher and Don Chaney and make them tap out. You know what I'm saying? Like KC said, wounded dog, take them out to the pasture, put a hot one in their head, and let's move on to North Carolina. Like, I feel like this team should be hanging around, but real quick update stands. I know somebody brought up Louisville and how they think they're gonna lose. Louisville is leading the conference with 3 wins and they're 5-0. It's questionable some of those might have looked. You know what I'm saying?
They play what Notre Dame does me. So even if they lose, that's not a conference game.
Yeah, it's not a conference game. So they could be 5-1. They'll still be ranked. Real quick before I get out of here, man, probably one of the bigger out of conference games. A&M and Alabama. How are we feeling about that? Real quick before we get out of here.
Listen, did you guys pay attention to the spread? You know the spread. Alabama when the weekend started, Alabama was -7.
Mm-hmm.
That thing flipped all the way to A&M -1.5.
Wow, I thought the last I saw was 5 Alabama.
And it went to A&M -1. I just seen it, just pulled up, and I was like, damn, I should have put money. Should have put that money on A&M.
Let me look at it.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yep. Alabama right now at the current time of this recording is at 1 exactly on the dot.
Is that 1? See what I'm saying?
What? And then everything we said about it being
for upset.
Win, yeah, if they beat Alabama and put Alabama as a 2-loss team in week 1,
should be top 10.
October. Wait, what? No.
I mean,
jumped off the ledge on now.
We're at 17 now, and I would argue that
more undefeated teams in front of us.
Yeah, but if A&M beats Bama, I don't know, man. We
is A&M back in yet? No, they're not.
They're not even ranked, man, which is crazy.
The
polls is wild, man. Like,
that's why I don't trust them before week 4.
The polls are wild. A&M is not even ranked. The disrespect, because people they look at us and they like, y'all lost to a 5-7 Miami team. Team went 5-7 last year and got 50 balled. So it's like the reason A&M is not ranked is because we get disrespected too, right?
For the record, A&M would be technically 28. They got 31 receiving votes. They're behind Maryland and Kansas State. Wait, Maryland's not ranked?
Nah, they got Air Force ranked, which is dumb.
Wait, Maryland's undefeated, right?
Yeah, Maryland's undefeated.
It's a couple one-loss teams in here that I'm like, it's one-loss teams in front of Miami.
Oregon State. How's Oregon State in front of Miami? Like, really?
Because they beat a highly ranked Utah team at home, granted, but
but look
with the third string quarterback.
Utah was ranked, though. They beat Florida. They beat when Florida was ranked, so it's not a quality win anymore.
I mean, it's dumb because Colorado beat TCU and Colorado just jumped everybody. Like, Colorado was probably ranked 125, and then they beat TCU and they just jumped the whole rest of the country.
You're absolutely right.
And so I don't buy none of that crap. That's why I say I don't even care. Don't pick us. What you said, maybe keep us at 18.
Yep. If we win, keep us right at 18.
As long as we win, guess what? The other team got to lose. You know what I'm saying? Win, and you got your own destiny.
Yeah, I do think A&M gonna give Bama. A&M gonna give Bama all they can handle, because that Alabama offensive line been shaky, and everybody A&M has played minus Miami. That D line been eating.
Yep.
I got A&M winning. I got A&M winning that game.
Yeah, they they pressure every quarterback except Miami. Every quarterback they face, they pressure them at least 15 times in every game they
I
play.
got A&M winning that game, man. Everybody can talk about, oh, well, they lost. Max Johnson is basically what they
Max
need.
Johnson has started at 2 SEC schools.
Play good defense, and then don't turn the ball over, Max. We gonna win this game.
All he needs to do is be a game manager. I think he beat. Maybe I'm
Max
tripping.
Johnson is an elite backup quarterback. I mean, the man started at LSU, and he didn't have a bad season. Like,
he
the man
beat
put up
A&M at
numbers.
LSU.
Yeah,
He beat Jimbo at LSU. So, and LSU was ranked. I mean, A&M was ranked in that matchup. So, I'm not sleeping on Max Johnson. Plus, you know what I'm saying? He come from good lineage. It's Mark Rick nephew. So, shout out to him. His dad, not so much, but, shout out to Mark Rick. On that note,
yeah. Max Johnson Max Johnson in 2021 threw for 2,800 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Come on now.
And I don't
27
think he started
touchdowns and 6 interceptions?
I don't think he started at the beginning of the season either. I think he was.
That's a decent good season right there, man.
That's Jordan Travis last year. That's Jordan Travis season last year.
Yeah,
that is Jordan Travis.
And that team won 10 games. That's exactly what Jordan Travis did. 2,700, 25, and I think he threw like 6 or 26 and 6, something like that. That's exactly what Jordan Travis did. And that was a 10-win game, or 10-win team, excuse me. So
I think Jimbo pulls it out, man. Jimbo pulls it out, and he's probably gonna get a contract extension after this game. Because I mean, you beat the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? They got to give you a contract extension. I mean, after he lost to us, it was looking like, oh boy, Jimbo gonna get fired. But then he bounced back. They go whoop up on Auburn. And then if they go out there and beat Bama, it's like, oh, okay, Jimbo, these recruiting class is starting to add up. You know what I'm saying?
And Auburn was in a dogfight with Georgia for most of that, basically until Brock Bowers with what 10 minutes
left. So they just stopped covering Brock Bowers. How you stop covering the best player on the field? Like,
nah, the SEC is in quarterback shambles, man. Them quarterbacks.
Oh my God. I was going to finish that note. I am so glad Tyler did not take his ass up there with Tommy Reese.
My God, that whole conference is horrible. The quarterback who was playing the best was A&M guy, and he got hurt.
Yep.
And I'm like, that whole conference is just bad.
When you got it week after week with teams that can't throw the ball, it's like anything can happen, and it's just that conference. Them teams are suspect. The conference is suspect. I honestly think A&M, and this might be crazy, I think they're the best team in the SEC. I know that sounds crazy, and they're not ranked, but I'm like, my eyes tell me that they might be the best team in that conference.
I think they're the best on the west side. Georgia's still the best. Georgia's still the best.
Georgia's still number one.
The West.
They're the best on the West. They're the best on the West.
I would say this though, Georgia is right for. I think a lot of them kids are sitting there hanging out off of a legacy that they didn't build, thinking that the shit just going to carry over. And it's going to just take 1 or 2 mistakes by Carson Beck, and they could be there for the taking. So they better stay on the A game. I think it's still early to call A&M the best, but I don't think I wouldn't say that's like completely inaccurate, if that makes sense. I just think it's early, but no, they trending that way.
We're going to find out something this weekend.
Absolutely. But on that note, let's get up out of here, fellas. Been here an hour. Appreciate everybody watching once again.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us. Always. We got Tuesday prayer talk show. Wednesday the space. Thursday pregame prediction. We don't have do we have a game show yet? Or we still ain't get that one together?
Not really. Schedule's been weird as shit, but we do this, and then normally during halftimes I'll go in a Discord and actually open that up. People want to talk.
Okay.
Maybe like 3 people talk ever, you know what I'm saying? But all together, you know what I'm saying? And then Sunday morning we got Morning Breath Show.
Morning Breath Show. Yeah. Again. Make sure y'all subscribe to Caneville, YouTube, Footballville, YouTube.
And yeah, exit off air, man. Shout out to y'all in the space last night. I think it was like 800 plus in there last night.
Yeah, man. That was dope. dope, man.
Going
Thanks.
strong.
Thanks again, man. Especially, it wasn't no widows last night. It wasn't no widows trying to talk last night, which was funny.
I was
Every
gonna say
week is
name. I'm
always a
gonna chill.
person.
I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill on the timeline, man.
I
But,
mean,
but nah,
yeah,
man. Hey,
don't forget
go ahead.
get the link in my bio for the Caneville shirts if you want some Caneville shirts. I'm tailgating Saturday, the West Blue Lot, so you can see me out there. Y'all pull up. I'm gonna have a nice little.
What time you gonna be out there?
Okay, so the gates open at 3. I think I get out there probably like around 3:40. So we'll start around like 4:00.
Okay, what's on the menu?
I got a brunch menu, man. Some chicken and waffles, some burger sliders, some wings, fruit platter, some macaroni salad. Got some garlic salad that's gonna be out there for the healthy guys, and some sweets.
Okay, I got
and mimosas. Got mimosas.
Okay, that's what's up.
Mimosas had them people going crazy last time.
Man, hey, when I came to that unfortunate Duke game, dog, I'll never forget. We had a brunch that day at your tailgate, and it was one of them girls that was out there. She was out there with her husband or something like that. And man, she came in, and I had some Yeezy slides on, man, and some socks. And she came out there and got sick and threw up, and that shit almost got him. Boy, I almost lost my mind. I was like, you gotta get up out of here, dog. I was like, she gotta go. Ain't no way, dog. She was like, I don't feel very well. I said, oh no. I said, I jumped up on the seat. I'm on the chair, like, no. It was bad, man. But
hey, look, listen. I was debating, like, man, should I bring out the mimosas again? Because I remember the mimosas had them people tripping.
They was turned up in the tailgate. They was on 10. They was going live, but when they got in the game, sitting in that sun with that, man, it was not a good look at all. But shout out to the Mimosa crew, man. Shout out to KC3, man. Appreciate you pulling up, my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, appreciate y'all, boys.
Tell people they can find you, man. You know what I'm saying? What's your social or whatever?
I'm not even on social like that, man. KC3,
hey, smart man.
Yeah, I'm being a group me. I'll be around, man. I'm hopping on the show. I'll hop on Hayes sometime soon too. Hang out with him, man. But
that's what's up,
hey,
man.
Caneville family, man. I appreciate y'all.
Of course. Rich, what you got, man? Before we get up out of here,
man. This is just one more road to getting back. And like I said on the Morning Breath show during the weekend, TVD, it's time for him to turn up the volume and just let them things loose. So it's time for him to have those 400-yard passing games and for him to raise his stock in order for him to get to the NFL. So it's about that time.
Oh yeah, another thing. Clemson weekend, and you know everybody coming down for that weekend. Friday the 20th, I have the Canes meetup. Canes versus Clemson meetup. I've dropped the flyer. You know, if y'all want to come, it's free. They got the food trucks and they got the bar there. So I mean, that's not free, but it's free to get in.
So yeah, man, we got Clemson in a couple weeks, man. Y'all pull up for that. Once again, man, appreciate y'all being in here, man. With that being said, man, we out of here. Get it right.